Morning, everyone. We'll start with the pledge. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God, we thank you for the opportunity again to come together and do the business of the county. We ask that you give the commissioners guidance as they make decisions that affect all of us. We pray you watch over, protect our employees in the course of their duties as they serve the county. Pray it in Jesus' name.
All right. Heard anything from Dan?
Oh, right. Hadn't noticed it. No, I've got nothing.
I've read the minutes. I make a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You got the bills?
Bills.
Make a motion, we pass the bill, pay the bills in the amount of $402,974.84. That's my motion.
I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Got the sheriff's report.
Sheriff's reports, total prisoners 42, farmed out 0, total farmed in 19, 911 calls 124, total jail contacts 4,058, total calls for service 486, civil service papers served 14, bin inspections 8, new cases opened 15, cases closed 9, vehicle crashes 12, SRO activities 120, bailiff contacts 205, livestock out 7.
Sheriff's monthly fee report. We'll need a motion to accept. And I got the park report. And then Sherry's gonna be here today to go over how things are going at the park.
Sheriff's monthly fee report, let's see. We had inmate housing for $42,322.50. Reimbursement on new supplies. Let me back that up. I guess that would be right. Okay. Reimbursement on new supplies, $213.45. Law enforcement trust grant, $500. Registered offenders, $520. Fingerprints, $45. Civil service, $515. VINs, $340. Reports, $75. And concealed carry, $97.50. For a total of $44,628.45. That's my motion that we accept this.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And nothing that takes any action right now, but I got a letter from our firm that's been doing our audit for as long as I've worked here. They are no longer going to do county audits. So we're going to be looking for a new audit firm for next year. Janet and I talked about it the other day, and we've got names of a couple of firms we know in the area that are doing them. So we're going to try to work something up where we can get some quotes or bids from other companies to do that in the future.
else?
I think that's it for me.
AMR?
Good morning, Galen Anderson with American Medical Response. So far for the month, we're at 13 transports by ambulance. Next week, I'll have a breakdown for a detailed report for the previous month. Still have a paramedic opening and some good news to announce. You probably recall, I haven't talked about it for about 3 years. AMR Kansas operations are accredited with the Commission on Accreditation of Ambulance Services, for CAS for short. It's a nationwide accrediting body for ambulance services. The only other service in the state of Kansas that's CAS accredited is Sedgwick County EMS and Wichita. And it's a 3-year reaccreditation process. And we went through the process of being reaccredited and had our site inspection. It's a 2-day in-person site inspection that happened 2 weeks ago, and we got the news last week that we were issued a reaccreditation with no deficiencies for another 3 years. So that was good news. So that'll stay our status for the next 3 years. I think that's all I got. Anything for me?
You guys?
Nope.
Thanks, Galen.
Have a good week.
I got a park report here too I could read. That total income for the year is, well, for the month was $30,623.16 for October. That makes a year to date $275,716.02. Expenses for October was $22,774.52. Makes it a gain of $7,848.64 for a year-to-date gain of $44,485.84. Randy?
Good morning, Commissioners. Weekly summary handed out. We had 12 calls over the last week. Brings our total incidents for the year up to 485. We have one brush truck at the Linn station that is down due to transfer case being out. We're waiting on parts. They're back ordered. I'd looked at doing this before. We have a pickup at the Pleasanton station that's just used for like an administration vehicle. I believe I have enough parts to make a skid unit to put in that, where if we do have a truck like that go down, we can move that truck to another station, and then come grass fire season, we'll have a backup truck or a second unit we can deploy out of that station. So I'll be working on that, but I think we have all the parts, we can make it ourselves. So we are currently in a burn ban again today because of the winds, and we'll probably extend that through Wednesday. It's supposed to be windy again Wednesday. So other than that, I have nothing.
Anything, you guys? Thanks, Randy.
All right.
Chris, you have something?
Good morning, Chris Martin, Linn County IT Director. Just wanted to kind of bring you up to date on stuff since our last conversation. Our digital radio transition is complete. So phase one, all the cities are, all the PDs are working great, and the quality's been really good. So that's been completed. We're looking at phase two options right now, which are just, has to do with handheld coverage in the smaller areas, Parker, Blue Mound, the corners of the county. So I'll be coming back to you next year to discuss phase two and some of the choices we can make there to make that more robust. We're also working with the fire department to discuss a potential digital plan like we did with the sheriff. The fire department has expanded our JPS system for a lot of their users. That's been working really well. Randy's been doing great with that.
Is that the emergency that comes on the phone or what?
No, the JPS is the radio on the phone.
Okay.
So he's got a lot of firefighters now that can access the fire channel and some other channels, and also communicate internally like we've been doing with the sheriff
Good.
and some other entities. So that works really well for us. Our 911 circuit stuff, the delays are still going on. They came out and did some engineering last week, but we hope that they're going to be able to get those circuits installed in the new building by Thanksgiving.
They're still in the old.
They're still in the old building. Yep, unfortunately. And that's going to extend out some issues. And the reason we're hoping specifically Thanksgiving is holidays. If we get past Thanksgiving, they've got people that are going on vacation or whatever. And so their own, and we'll know more today around noon. We have another meeting with them on the phone. But they're really pushing to try to get that in by Thanksgiving. And I'm hopeful they're able to do it. Once that's in place, the Mark region already has their computers installed and set up in the new dispatch. So from there, it will be us moving our radio console computers and CAD machines over to the new facility, and we'll be able to operate immediately over there. I don't know what the time frame is from the circuits going live in that building to Mark being live in that building. We've asked Mark. There's still some underlying stuff with them that they're looking into. They've got the main fiber connection already in the building. The second one they've contracted with and is being installed. That's just a backup. So that won't impact our timeline on getting it installed. But I don't know if once that circuit's live, if we're looking at a week to be able to actually move or what the timeline is on that. I'll get more and let you know for sure. And there's been some discussion in regards to the building tear down. Because once they do get out of the building, then we're going to need to pick the generator up, which Sean already has all that worked out. He's got a trailer and everything to put it on temporarily. We'll have to have the transfer switch removed, the power cut from the building, and then we have quite a bit of IT stuff that's still there because of dispatch that'll all have to get removed. So, best case scenario, you're looking at the middle of December. But I honestly feel like you're going to be the 1st of January to be reasonable.
After my visits with the sheriff this week, it seems to me that we ought to just not advertise yet until we get closer to knowing an exact date, because we don't want to ask somebody to give a bid for something that they might be doing this time and they'll be doing it 6 months later.
Sure. Makes sense.
Okay. So pushing hard, we keep calling them. Like we have weekly conference calls now at noon with what's now known as Brightspeed. They took over Lumen, which used to be CenturyLink. And so we feel good about them moving forward, but there's a lot of red tape on their side, and we're just waiting on those circuits. And they understand that that's the issue, but we're at their mercy. One of the new server room crack units is offline right now. Some sort of a relay burned out on a condenser unit on the roof, and they're sourcing a new part. River City and the mechanical company are working on it. But the second unit, of course, is handling the room just fine. We don't have any concerns of heating issues in there. But just so you're aware, that's in process. The last thing I have is ransomware. I wanted to talk to you about that a little bit. We try to keep an eye on surrounding communities and what's happening with them. I'm aware of 2 that are relatively close to us that have been affected by ransomware relatively recently. Of course, us being a large government entity, we're seeing a lot more attacks. I say attacks, more like hits on our firewalls. But we usually see that happen around election time. It's kind of normal. But it is a growing concern of mine. So we've taken some steps to put a lot of our data, almost all of it, in fact, into cold storage so that we air gap our backup. That way, our worst case scenario, if that was to happen, would be roughly a 30-day lag of data, but we wouldn't lose decades of data. And we're also looking to push out some training to a lot of staff using the same training system that we use for our security awareness regarding ransomware, because our biggest impact is email. It's people clicking on attachments and opening things that shouldn't be opened. we can rely on our antivirus and those tools as much as we can, but ultimately we've got to be diligent and question the emails as they come in. That's our biggest attack surface right now. So again, we'll be sending that out to a lot of department heads and touching base with them to see if we can get some of these folks to just take a 15, 20-minute online deal to touch base again about ransomware. The costs associated, of course, if that was to happen, is rather significant. I have talked to David. We do have some insurance for those types of things, but honestly, I don't know. You're usually a county of our size. It's going to be north of $1 million in the request of ransom. So, we definitely want to take every step we can to prevent that. Any questions?
No on that.
No. Okay. So I'll be back in touch with you as far as what our plans are moving forward. And then internally, because some things I obviously can't share in the public as to how we are protecting ourselves, but
Right.
Either privately or executive session, I can share that with you if you're interested. That's all I have.
I have,
While Chris is still here, I want to bring up something. I brought you change order 18 a few weeks ago, and there were some questions, and then Danny talked with Chris and some others about it, but I never have got your signature on it. And so I need to do that. That's change order number 18. It was a variety of small things, little electrical changes, things here and there. And
What did it end up being after everything was changed and said and done?
$16,166.
What was it from the get-go? You remember?
I don't have.
I recall there was some charges on there that got taken off because they were supposed to go to Benson method, I believe.
I think it was originally like if there was like $10,000 difference. I don't have that with me.
Yeah.
And then there was a lot of little things that we couldn't really it wasn't worth picking.
Right. It was things that ended up an outlet for a condensate pump. So it didn't make it into the engineering, but it needed to be there in order to plug the condensate pump in, things like that.
I'll look at it.
And Kevin and Chris have looked over it. Like
Yep, Chris approved it, Kevin approved it.
I said it because I know them two just been really
is this it?
in the mix. So
There'll be one more change order, just shuffling stuff around. There are still some monies in some of the funds that weren't used that'll come back to contingency.
Okay.
There'll be some, tying up some loose ends, wrapping some things up. There'll be, but there shouldn't be any significant
Bills.
substantive change.
So if I could add on to that, because this is something that's been going on for a while, and it's actually with these crack units. And Bill Matlock with River City has been on top of it, but they've been talking to the engineer. They've talked to our local HVAC contractor. They've talked to the HVAC contractor, put the stuff in. When they installed the crack units in the server room, they put the ductwork where the two units are on each end of the room, and the ductwork actually is connected. So the idea is that one turns on, and then after let's say a couple weeks, the other one runs. It's a lead lag system, so you have the redundancy, but you're not wearing them both out. What they didn't put in there was what are called backflow dampers. So when one of them is on, it's actually blowing a lot of cold air down the snout of the other one. And it's not efficient. It's also causing problems with the second unit. Whichever one isn't running is actually the sensors in it are reading very, very cold air. I'm not an HVAC person by any means, but apparently, the way air flows, it's still path.
Do they have a solution to it?
Yes,
Problem?
to put in backflow dampers. And they are working on what that's going to be right now. But there was a mention of, I know they've talked to the engineer, and Bill said that he was in agreement that, it should have backflow dampers in there. They felt like it was not going to be a significant cost. And it may be something that we have a local contractor put in as opposed to going back on, like a change order. But just so you're aware, that is kind of in discussion. It's been going on for a long time. And I say that it's been several months, but it's been back and forth trying to get someone or multiple individuals that they're basically agreeing. The balance people agreed, our local, which was, Jason Weber, he looked at it. He's like, yep, you need a backflow damper. Even the mechanical people that put it in per the design, which didn't have them, agree, yeah, it needs backflow dampers. So all the experts are saying you really need backflow dampers in there. So at this point, I think they're trying to figure out how to proceed to put backflow dampers in. They've already identified exactly where they could go, and it would be relatively simple according to the HVAC people.
Now, will somebody do that for us? I mean, or do we have to do it ourselves? Or?
Well, there's still discussion about that.
Yeah.
Naturally, our position, the position of River City is that should have been in the original
Right.
design. But, the other side would say, well, it wasn't. That it wasn't in the design that came to them. So, but it's not gonna be a very expensive thing.
No.
It doesn't look like.
No, they're all saying it's a relatively, and it's not really a mechanical, it's what you would think of like an attic fan. It's just louvers. So when air's pushing on it, they're closed to give that resistance. And when it blows up, they open to go back the other way.
You've seen those kind of things in
Right.
furnace systems where you gotta.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like
Okay. Do you need a motion or is he already
that.
signed?
You'll have a motion for Jim to sign.
Well, I'm good with it as long as we've double checked it and got everything worked out on it. I'll make a motion that we allow our chair to sign it for the amount of, what is it,
16,000.
$16,166.48.
I'll second it.
for change order
18.
That's still pretty good, 18 change orders for entire project, so. But that's my motion.
You seconded it?
I did.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I got one question for you, and I don't know if it's you or if it's David, but, a few of and this is weird because I got more calls on this than anything, and I didn't even know anybody used them, but we're not in the phone book for the county office's phone numbers.
I've had calls on that.
So I don't know if it's you or you, but we need to make sure, if we can, to get it in there.
What happened is when we
I
went
know.
to our voice over IP system,
Yeah.
we're not with the phone company anymore.
Yeah.
That puts out the book, so they don't put us in.
We can add it, though.
I think if we want to pay for having an ad to put us in, we probably could.
Yeah.
It would make sense to do that.
Yeah.
Because that's where, anybody who doesn't go online to look for us, they go to the phone book.
I've had multiple people ask me about that.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating for some people, but it's,
Yeah. I understand.
I could,
What it will cost to do that, or, because we've got the one that, Century Link or whatever they may be now, part of it.
Yeah, now it's Brightspeed.
And the one out of Lake Scene. the
Peoples.
the County, book they put out,
And then there's Crockhand.
and Crockhand covers part of the county, so we may be looking at 3 different publications if we're wanting to get into that.
I don't know if we want to get into it, but I just probably should find a price or something on it
Okay.
and then bring it to us. And I don't know who does that, but if it's going to cost, a bunch, then
And don't we have one phone book that goes to everybody in the county? Isn't there one?
isn't
That's a names
people's,
and numbers book. That's,
The one from Lake Scene, Peoples,
Well,
goes out.
yeah, but
does it come down here? I mean, do they deliver
the
phone
people's
books?
book comes down here to all of us.
Okay,
Yeah.
so why wouldn't we just put it in
Just put
one?
it in one, and
It's,
if it goes to
it's that
everybody.
little book. It's not like the big thick
Right.
names and numbers.
They used to send that all the time.
They don't, yeah.
If they would just put it back in, like in Mountain City, you'd find Linn County, or if it'd be a yellow pages kind of thing, I wonder how they would set that up.
I'll find out.
Thank you.
I didn't even know they made phone book stuff.
And the cost.
Yep. I'll touch base and find out.
You're too young.
Thank you.
Okay.
Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Missy.
Don't have a whole lot to report. Health department's doing good, continuing flu, COVID. A lot of sickness going around right now. RSV, flu, just trying to stay on top of it. The main thing I have today is the bids that I sent you. The first one is, we had talked about one time, about doing a room in the back, that could be used as a meeting room, also as a safe room. We could put our radios, computers, electronics back in there in case there was ever bad weather. Also could be used if there was like an active shooter or anything like that. And so that's the first bid that I have. And then the second one is the drive-through awning. Nathan came out and looked at it. Sean has been helping me with this. Looks like we could get it done pretty easy. 100% grant paid. And then he sent Harry out the other day, and we would move the parking over in front of the new addition, and it would just take a couple loads of gravel. I have a bid in here for cement, for concrete, for a driveway and stuff, but I don't think we can afford that.
No, it's way over.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got the entire pad poured for the new addition for 10 grand.
I'm sorry?
The new addition of the health department, we got all that poured at the beginning of the project. 10 grand. So that's, like, before the building was built, that's what we paid for that entire slab, so
Oh, okay.
a little bit off.
Okay.
Um,
So we would just park on the other side, move our parking blocks around there, and they would drive up. Don't have to add any more concrete. There's plenty of room to circle around, and we'd be good to go.
What's the construction of this, safe room? What's the material?
As far as the closet in there,
Yeah, I
to
mean,
make it a safe room?
you're calling this a safe room. I mean, this whole space is a safe room?
No,
Okay.
no. It would
That's
be,
not clear.
no, it would be a room, and then there would be a closet in there that would be the safe room.
And would it be block or cement or, I mean, how do you can't go,
The construction, the way I look at this, stuff that was sent to me, the construction is basically taking 2x6 material, using what would typically be like hurricane strap or metal strapping to hold the material together, and then sheeting on the inside of the walls with metal. And they've rated this, it's put inside the room a piece at a time like any other construction, unlike moving a solid metal structure in the room and bolting it down. So the cost is gonna be much more effective, but they've rated this, and I can't remember what the video you sent me said. It was rated, for storm and other.
okay, well, my concern was the legal ramifications of calling something a safe room if it's not officially a safe room, so.
Yes, it's, the construction of it is designed for hazardous weather.
Right.
So what's the top of it look like? I mean, do you know?
I don't recall this, the top, what it basically is doing is taking all of the framework and tying it together with metal strapping to reinforce it, and then sheeting the inside of the entirety of the room in metal, so that it's not only puncture resistant
Right.
for objects being blown through the air or other things, but they've got a wind rating and a damage rating on it.
Missy,
Sorry.
is this kind of new? Because I know let's talk.
It is, yes. It
And then really, what's the purpose of it?
Well, the purpose of it is to give us some place to, if we had like a mass flu clinic that we wanted, where no one is sick, we could go back there, do paperwork, use it for classes. We do have our diabetic educator that is going to be certified hopefully at the end of this month. So we could use it for diabetic classes. We could use it for exercise classes. You could just use it for pretty much whatever we wanted. We want to start doing some stuff for our seniors, and so that would include like an arthritis class. Danielle would do her diabetic education. She'll become a diabetic educator soon. There's multiple uses. I know we have the boardroom in the health department, but it's not big enough to do that type of stuff.
So this is, if I'm looking at it right, it says frame is 25 by 35,
Yes.
and closet, the shelter is what I'm talking about. And that's what you're talking about right now? The storm shelter
The
closet?
storm shelter would be in the closet of the new room,
Is that 25 by 35 feet or is that 2.5 by 3.5 feet?
25 by 30. 30, what, the classroom?
The closet, the
closet.
storm
Oh.
closet.
25 by 10 is the way I read it, right?
Look at it.
Top line.
Oh, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
it's
I'm
25
sorry.
by
I
10.
I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
To withstand 250-mile-per-hour wind and debris.
Okay, so the 25 by 10 storm safe closet, what is it is it just for that purpose or is that where you be holding classes?
No, the class is 20, the new room would be 25 by 35, including closet and shelter.
So 25 by 25 for your meeting room and 25 by 10 for the
Safe room.
safe room.
Yes.
And what will the safe room do
Yeah.
except during storms? Anything? That's what he's asking.
What would the safe room do?
Well,
Yeah, who's it for? Who's the safe room for? Just for you or whoever's in the building?
Whoever's
Or
in
is
the
it for the city of Pleasanton or whoever
No,
needs
It
shelter?
would be who's ever in the building at that time. It would also hold our computers.
Okay.
All that type stuff.
Hold your computers? You're gonna put computers? in?
Well, like our emergency stuff that we have.
Okay, I'm just trying to get a picture because it
Sure.
kind of costs a lot. And
Yeah.
When we poured that additional slab, didn't we pour footings for the hardened space?
Yeah.
Well, I had asked about that and somebody had told me no, that they took it out of the plan.
Where's it located?
I have the drawings of where they're located. Yeah, there's footing has been poured for, safe room.
And where is it? Oh, okay.
And I think that's more or less designed for block to go up, which would be half the price of this.
Well, the only thing is that we have till July 1st to get this done and this grant money spent.
Okay, so let's do some more research on this. I would suggest.
I'll talk
if we could. And then
And then how about the awning? He's ready to start.
when you say, yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second. But on the, so are you talking about taking that big room in the back and kind of adjusting it?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And the reason you want the 25 by 35, that area is for classes.
Yes.
For-
Or anything that it could be needed.
And have you got classes planned if you do this?
No, not until I get approval for well, I mean, we've been talking about it.
Okay.
Planned anything.
You have to have people certified to do certain things, right? Like diabetic class,
Yeah, she'll
different
take
things.
her diabetic.
Are you doing, did you say geriatric exercise classes and stuff like that?
Yeah, like for exercise, like for arthritis.
Right. Okay.
Anything, we could have like her BAM classes, which is becoming a mother. She could have it back there. We have a lot of classes that we would like to do.
I think if you had a actual like 4 or 5 things that you would definitely do, then I would be more interested in looking into this. I mean, if it's just we could, then I'm not really interested
We could make
at all.
use of that space. We could
And-
outreach a lot more people, I think, this way.
And the storm shelter, I'm not, you're gonna have to do some more convincing on. But let's just move on, but I'd like to do some more research, you guys do some more research on that and think about more is that fair? Okay. Okay, you're awning.
Okay, awning. I got grant manager approval, so I'm just waiting on you to get started.
And the cost overview, that's the cost now? Okay. Danny, did you look into this at all?
Yeah, I was trying to get back this week to meet with Nathan, but we talked over the phone a little bit, but
And this awning is at the south end of the building now or in front?
Yes, South.
South, okay. And they're able to do that without an engineer's design?
How do we know that? I know he might say that, but how do we know that?
The span's been reduced so that he did not feel he needed an engineer to complete it because the span was within normal construction ranges.
So he'll warranty it without an engineer?
Yeah.
As far as the warranty goes. if
Can we find out that?
it's Any construction that he would do.
But I mean, that's the reason he required an engineer on the other one, is that he wouldn't be comfortable warrantying it unless the engineer
Right.
stamped it. But on this, he says, he's essentially, I think, saying he's comfortable doing that. It's a normal, normal warranty.
Yeah.
where it says set post and frame 15 feet from building by 30-foot long awning. Is it spanning the entire side of
No.
the building?
No, where my window is in my office, that south window, it'll go right past that all the way. Not all the way to the end because there's some things there. So no, it will not come 35 feet from my window down.
And 15 feet out?
Yes. As we talked, we wanted to make sure that the bus or the transportation van could get in there if we needed to test anyone there, give them a shot.
And when could he start on it if we decide to?
I just have to call him. He called me the other day and wanted to know
Okay.
because he wants to get
He said
started.
he's ready to go now.
He's ready to go.
Try to get-
This is another that needs to be done by July 1st.
Okay.
This is I was envisioning something else when I was talking to him. 30 feet long seems like a lot, doesn't it?
Well, it doesn't go all the way to the end. He just wanted to be able, he said that by that way we could possibly get 2 vehicles if we're super busy, 2 vehicles out there and 2 nurses out there.
And you feel like it's a great benefit for the health department as a whole?
I do,
Just,
because when we go out and test people and it's snowing and raining, not only are we getting rained on, but we're trying to swab their nose with rain blowing in on them,
right,
so, or give them a shot
or yeah,
or hold
just
down.
in general, it's better.
Oh, yes.
And it's grant money as well. And it doesn't
100%.
seem like it's
Yeah, so it'd be 100% grant.
And this was out for bid for a while, and he was the only one that you got, right?
Yes.
what do you think, Jim?
I don't know.
Danny?
I mean, do you have concerns? What are your concerns?
That just seems like a lot of money for a lean-to.
Lean to?
That's my concern. Just for carport, $55,000,
And if it was
a lot of money.
county taxpayers' money, I would definitely say no to it. And I know it's grant money and we still got to be frugal. We should be
Sure.
honest and upfront. But
It's
I
still
don't,
going to pay for, salaries and stuff.
sure.
So,
And I'm not opposed to it because we've been talking about it for a long time and you worked as hard as you could on it.
right,
I think you're where you're at.
yeah. I mean, we have, in one grant, our CRCET, we have $124,000. If we need to carry that over for the classroom, I have another $71,000. So the money is there. There's not an issue with that. And like I said, these are the 2 grants that have to be spent, done, completed by July 1st of '23.
I think our health department's come a long ways over the last few years. It really has. And I think the community's outreach is, you get more and more people familiar with it and they come by. But you are and you aren't in competition with across the street as well.
No, we're not in competition with,
Well, I think you are.
well,
I think,
we're
but
totally different.
I know you are, but they go to both.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And they get the people that go to, what's the organization called across the street? CHC. Though they do very well for the people that go there. I mean, they don't overcharge. They charge based on income and all that. So
But they're a medical provider.
they are, and I'm not, so I'm just saying you're both kind of, you're not stealing each other's customers, but I'm saying they both do things. I think as long as the health department stays motivated about informing people and getting people to come down and get flu shots and different shots and
We try to, stay there, be there. We can walk in anytime. So, we're trying, what we're looking at really is we have done a lot of stuff for kids this summer. You know, I want to reach our seniors. And I feel that that's kind of who we're missing, maybe older adults. So I'm really, Danielle has already started, you know, talking to some about her diabetic educator, and they're really excited about that. Like I said, we want to go with Arthritis Foundation and try to do some classes for our older people. And so that's, you know, who we're trying to reach. And especially, I mean, I know the library in Lacey does a lot of stuff, but some, you know, not everybody can get up to Lacey. And so we're trying to
Sure,
not compete, but help get.
sure. And it wouldn't be wrong of you to ask Janet for you, the health department, to go up and speak every once in a while to that group of people. And not that you haven't, but
Yeah, I mean, we have a really good relationship.
yeah, because they do have a big drawing up there.
They do.
And they have good volunteers and,
Yeah,
and
they're-
it's a
they're
good
great.
organization.
Can any of this money be used for like a digital programmable sign that goes out front?
Yes, and I actually have that in another grant, but right now this is my priority. And then I think I've talked to Chris about the sign and Sean, because it's not where it was originally planned. You know, it's over there to the side. It was originally planned to be
I
directly
don't
in
think you
front of.
ever see it when you pull in.
What's that?
I don't think a lot of people see it when you.
They don't. We get a lot of people that come in for CHC or the pharmacy, and we have to
There's some
direct them
bar
back.
color lights up there that.
Well, and I mean, I have started kind of talking to somebody on a digital sign. It would be handy. You could see it better, and we could put all of our service there, scrolling across there. But I want to see how much this project is going to cost first and get the okay for that before I move on.
I'm not opposed to this at all. I think it will help because I think
too.
only based on what the health department's done over the last couple of years to try to draw people. Because health departments, when you think of health departments, you don't always think, you always think of disease or something like that. You always think of negative. If you go to the health department,
Right.
you know, you get the wrong impression, which is not totally wrong.
Yeah. Well,
you do a lot of different things.
Promote part.
You were
Right.
talking about the onion only, is that what you're speaking of?
Yeah.
So, throwing on the price, I think that the price isn't too terribly bad for the size of the 15 by 30. Because I was envisioning like 15 feet away from the building by like 10 feet wide, you know, or just a little bit bigger in a car. So that's why I was
Oh,
kind
no.
of blown away by the number. But I mean, if it's 30 foot long, that's
Right.
pretty big.
Yeah, we could get people through there fairly quick, I think.
I think it's a decent way to spend your grant money if this is, you know, if you're going to build
Yeah,
that structure.
I feel like it's something that we can.
I think it's a lot better than the first idea.
Isn't there some stick on stone on the front of that building?
Some what?
Like stone, architectural stone on the front?
Yes, there is.
You gonna go do some work on it?
No, I'm gonna. Let's look at that.
Yeah, it's just across the front.
So let's get somewhere on this. Are we against it or not?
Cost of it, I mean, for,
Yeah.
you know, for the square footage, that's pretty high for an open top,
It is an open top and it is expensive.
$100 and some a square foot.
But that's the only,
It's the only one we got.
That's
We make several calls to different contractors to try to get people bid in the process.
all the time frames, what you get into with the contractors. Not everybody's got time to get in there and get it done.
yeah.
No one wants to work.
Danny can go do it 3:00 in the morning.
I'm already booked.
So I'll make a motion. I think we need to do something. I'll make a motion that we approve the building of the health department for, where's this stupid thing at? What was the amount? $55,255. And it's coming out 100% out of grant money to build this project. That's my motion to approve that. And the builder is Rockin'
Nathan Hoffman.
Nathan Hoff,
He's done work. He
did.
Ambulance born in Lacey.
Yeah.
I think he did amazing.
still standing.
You want to have him reach out to me and we'll get the contract.
Well, we haven't proved it yet.
Yeah,
Been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
And Missy, I'll talk to him. I'll get with Chris, or maybe Chris, you can just send me over a picture of that plan. Because I think whenever Ryan Walker poured that slab, the footings were based on a block, like a 12-inch block. And I can talk to Doug too. I think he knew a lot about it too. But I think a block structure with a concrete top will be half that price.
Talking about for the safe room.
Yeah.
Missy, I won't be here next year, but I think when you present your budget next year, you ought to come out with a list of new initiatives that you want to do to help the health department. So you're going to get this built, and if you want some additional stuff or reasons, you should have like, we're going to do this many classes in this building or this facility or this facility. I think it'd be very helpful and encourage
Well,
the public.
all this had to be done by March, and I was here 3 months when I had to turn it.
I know.
in. So we're, next year will be better.
But I think it would be very beneficial. And then just keep in touch with Lacing and Linn Valley as well as over here.
Relationship with all of them.
And,
really.
and don't forget about Blue Mound and Centerville down in that area.
We've been there doing
Okay.
shots.
Good.
Did we ever get the minutes from the last meeting, your health department meeting? I don't.
No, she hasn't sent them to me yet.
Can you encourage her to get those out to you?
Yeah.
And you say you only had one board member come.
But we had a really good meeting. I mean, I've had one that's called and said because of her grandkids' ball game.
Now, is that, do you have to have a quorum to have the meeting? I mean, one's not a quorum, right?
Well, they can't take any action.
Yeah.
But they can meet and talk.
Right, because I'd already reached out to Gary about that, if we needed a quorum or not. And since we're not
They're
like
not-
a governing,
They're not spending any money. They're not hiring and firing any people. They're just advising. So
Right.
What is your attendance on it since we started? Could you?
the
look
first
back?
meeting was great. And then it slowly started declining. I don't, I've asked what we can do differently, and I don't think it'd do any good to do it during the day because you have working people,
Well,
but
that takes people away. That's not,
Exactly.
That's out of town.
And
Let's do
then-
that, you know.
like a lot of them, well, my grandchild had ball games, and of course,
Right.
I would want to be there. I call the Monday before and remind everybody, and I had one who said, "Oh, I forgot." So next meeting, which we did change that, they want to change it to quarterly instead of monthly. They said they think that would help. So I'm going to start calling everybody the day of and reminding and see if that helps. It's not that they don't want to be involved. There's just lots of other things going
Right.
on.
People's busy, I know.
They
that,
are.
but it's,
They
we're not getting very good attendance from it. I mean, it don't appear that just.
No.
a good thing about that board is there's some fairly young people on it.
Yes.
But the bad thing is when you're young, you're busier.
Right.
Right.
Right. So next time I'm going to try calling them the day of and reminding them again, because she said, "Well, I know you always call me a week ahead, but then the day of I get busy." So we'll try that.
Okay.
And I think the quarterly will help too. Or it's not a monthly.
Sure. I think so too.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sherry, do you want to come ahead? We've held you up, I guess, haven't we? I guess.
We don't know if we're ready for you, but. Yeah, make a big speech.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We could.
We've got these,
We
yeah.
got them, or one anyway. I read it.
Did you change them?
Okay, where do you want to start?
Well, wherever you want.
Well,
How's the park doing?
good.
I know good on paper.
What's
Yeah.
different from last time you were here?
What's different?
Yeah.
I keep trying to be creative ways to make some money out there. We also, in that amount, that $44,485.84 by the end of October, we also pay for that lawnmower that you guys approved last year.
Okay,
So it was more like 56,000 by now.
okay.
Difference, I don't know, both Memorial Day weekend and Labor Day weekend were completely packed. 4th of July is never packed because we don't have a pool, and that's what people want to do for 4th of July, but
Right.
just, also, we had a construction company come in that wanted the cabins for every cabin during the weeks and one for storage on the weekends, Noah, which is doing the sewer up in Lacine. And one of the issues I have is that they left. They stayed for a couple months and about a month and a half, and we made over $5,000 in that time off of them. But we haven't gotten the TVs in the cabins yet. They wanted TVs and they wanted Wi-Fi, and they would have stayed for a whole year had we had that. So, but that was good money for us. And I don't know. I just think more promoting, more people are seeing it online and coming in. I think our prices are really low, and that's getting around.
Does the Airbnb working out for you? Do you like that or not?
Not preferably. We aren't set up for a maid service, and yeah, no. It's kind of hard because our cabin cleaner only comes in on Mondays and Fridays.
Can you adjust that?
Wednesday, and she is also cleaning those valley cabins now too, which they're paying her a lot more money to do that. So we're scrambling sometimes to get the cabins clean between the staff we had, which we were really short-staffed until we got April in July, and John came in May. So it was basically Robert and I running the whole park, except for Rhonda when she was there, but that was before rush hour. So all in all, I think it's just getting more popular and word's getting around. I've gone around to the county. That's the only time I've really had is just lately to go around to the county and go to the libraries and the post offices and hang up pamphlets and flyers on the cabins in hopes that that brings in even more interest for now.
How come the Wi-Fi's not done yet? Oh,
Yeah, that's,
was that? Okay, I didn't know if it was you or Crockhand, because I know it.
Yeah, it's us.
Oh, gotcha.
yeah.
That was no me towards you. I just didn't know.
That is on the radar.
Okay, another issue we have.
You have issues?
I have lots of issues. We're fixing lots of issues. You mean me personally?
I think the Airbnb is huge. I think we have to figure a way out to make that happen.
Well, I think
It's happening,
then we probably need to hire more staff because I've got one cabin cleaner that comes in 3 days a week. And when you only have one person running the marina and one person working outside and a half, which then,
Eric, could you give me one of those?
then we would need one that's, oh, Gary, I'm sorry. So this is the new dock that Bill Miles built last year and we got in. This year, it's the courtesy dock. It's the one right by the road, boat ramp, right next to it. New ramp. That's something else we paid for this year. This is, you all been out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got the boat slips, that one in the middle that's kind of a courtesy dock too, and then the one on the left side. This one, the shape it's in, needs some repairs. That's not as big of a deal, but the next one's gonna be a fun one. Did you want to copy the picture? Sure.
As you're looking at those,
What's the big deal for that one?
I know this
I'll give you
factor in your decision, and I was going to cover it on mine, but this is your answer from Evergy as far as the progress on the new leaks.
This one's the boat slips and they are unsafe and we are going to have to find the grant money or something to either repair them or completely replace them.
Remind me to talk about this when you get there.
So what?
I was talking to him.
Oh.
So you gave us these three. What are you going to tell us about it?
Okay, what I'm telling you about is, I'm just giving you a picture of what the new dock looks like, and what improvements could be done to the boat docks.
Good.
The middle one doesn't need as much work and probably can be repaired with minor repairs. But the boat slips, the condition they're in, they're unsafe, actually. I don't really want to rent them out next year. I feel like they either need to be torn down or somehow repaired. I've had some people who have volunteered to help.
What's wrong with them?
Well, I
Besides they
don't
look
know how
old.
one of them, the piling that they slide down on when they built them, one of them's completely off the piling.
Okay.
It's just laying there. When the water changes levels, they don't tend to move the way they're supposed to, then we end up with them up in the air. Then we had some person who came out, comes out there regularly, decided one of them was tipped up and he decided to jump up and down on it, broke the boards through. But the floats have come out from underneath them. The pilings have moved up higher than they used to be. I don't know if they're actually pilings, but they're poles. They're I don't know. I just would.
Sean, have you looked at them all too?
Yes, what she's talking about is the mud holes at the dock.
Right.
Goes up and down on.
Yeah.
The condition was completely undone, so one isn't, in place again. And the docks themselves get twisted, as people walk on them because the mud holes get stuck on the brackets.
Right.
Because the float systems underneath are not equal, so it doesn't come up and down, equally on the poles. So when weight gets shifted on it, it shifts and you'll have one end up 4 feet, the other end
Now,
down.
will people rent these from us? And
Yes, they park the boats there, right?
So
what kind of revenue does this create? This,
Actually, we had more revenue on them this year than we've had in.
Like how much are they though? Are they by the day or by the week?
Well, 2 years ago, they were $5, and then what was given to you, I think, last year, or the year before, was $3, so then they got left at $3. They're $3 plus tax a day.
A day? That's it?
what yearly revenue, what comes from these? I mean, can we look at that?
Yeah, I can get that for you. I have.
It's not much though, is it? If it's only $3,
That's what I'm saying. It's not much.
you couldn't even buy a board for a long time.
has Don George been involved in this process of these docks?
Who what?
Don George?
He told me he didn't have any grants when I asked him a couple of years ago. But then a couple of years ago, you guys weren't really wanting us to spend any money, so I hadn't really gone forward with it any more than that, but I can look,
I could be wrong, but I think he's helped a lot of the other lakes around the county get brand new docks. He might be the one to talk to about it.
Well,
Yeah.
I think there's outdoor recreational money still available when COVID came out, outdoor activities and things. But I think that the general consensus was we're still gonna have to put matching funds, and before we go looking for that, we wanted to get the lease, the new lease worked out before we went out for that type of money investment in the infrastructure.
So we may have passed up on some grants, you're thinking?
I'm sure there was outdoor recreational grants, we just did not pursue a lot of them, for various reasons. The main reason was we anticipated several times that we were closer than what we were on the new lease.
So on the new lease, what's different from the old one? Is there anything?
It sounds like he's just renewing it. And we've asked for several things to go into that, didn't we?
Well, they're renewing it, and my understanding is they're not taking the original document and throwing it out. They're adding and taking away things from it. So it'll be interesting to see what the things we've asked about, how they address those and the changes.
It's drafted an amendment to the original.
Yeah.
Wasn't the original back in like 1935?
No.
For my time.
Gary was little then. Baby.
I feel like we have to.
I wasn't too little.
I feel like we have to have some at that park to be able to incorporate the rest of the family. I mean, me and my family went out there. Yeah, there's a place I can go fishing, but what's the rest of my family do? Then they can't swim. They can't
Yeah.
ride side by sides. They can't do anything. And I think
What'd you ask for in the amendment? Maybe you can address that after Sherry's done, but, Sherry, I want to say thank you first for, this thing was totally upside down and was looking bad, and we were talking bad for a few minutes on it.
Yeah.
But you've done a really great job, and I know you don't like the, Airbnb, and maybe we can adjust somehow on
We
that,
have
but.
to at least hire more staff. Because we put the washers and dryers clear up in the shop. So to do laundry, you have to go clear from the cabins all the way up to the shop. And and the person doing it has to be more readily available. And I don't want to get rid of Ray. She's awesome, but maybe we get another part-timer that can come in on alternate days.
Okay.
to expand it.
So you have cabin rentals,
Do I have cabin rentals?
and then it says cabin rentals and then Airbnb.
Well, there's your boat fees actually on here. Boat fees total for the year was 719.18 for the whole year, which somebody
Boat fees, that's for the dock fees.
for the $3 a day dock fee. So that's a lot.
That was horrible,
No, it's not.
especially if it was a little bit more,
But if
maybe.
you replaced it, then
Oh, yeah, I mean, that,
raise the prices on it,
Yeah.
obviously. Cabin rentals, $46,520.63, of which about, I'd say somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 is Airbnb. The rest of it says.
Okay.
So, yeah. But
I don't think we should close the boat slips down. I think we should either find a way to repair them. And maybe if we need to look into some grant money now, and then ask Don George if he's got any.
Okay.
Like maybe beg him a little bit. He's got something in his back pocket.
there's also Kansas Tourism out of Topeka might have something for that, but I don't know if they.
Because some of these, depending on how it's done, if it's just going to be remodeled with what's there and put some new stuff in it, versus take it out and put a brand new thing in there, which it would cost a lot.
Dock, as I understand, is metal.
It is.
Good.
So if it's not bent beyond reusing, you're talking about redecking and repoling it on the ends. It could be done without, I think, unless we find something when we pull the decking off that's structurally wrong with it. In an ideal situation, it should be refurbished.
Okay.
So,
What I was asking was the cabin, we have two separate line items for the cabin rentals and then Airbnb.
no, Airbnb is down there, so they're.
You just add it together. You
I
just,
really haven't looked at this, so. I haven't. I just look at the dollars on the bottom.
Airbnb was a lot better this month than it has been.
Yeah.
so your cabin rentals and your Airbnb, basically they add them together.
Together would
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, you're fine.
54,000.
But I'm glad you broke it down because it lets us know exactly.
I did break it down on the report, but he
Okay.
took my dollars and put it in there.
So you really need to work on getting you're telling us you need to work on getting the internet and the TVs in.
Right.
And that would help benefit the
We
cabin.
have the
You could
TVs already and
increase-
just,
You could also increase the price on the cabins, I think.
What's the price of them right
They're
now?
cheap.
55?
They're $50. They have $3.75 tax on them, so they're $50 is all. Oh, are you talking Airbnb?
Yeah.
Airbnb ends up, we add a $20 cleaning fee and a $35 pet fee. But if my minimum stay is 2 nights because I'm not going to be making beds every day with the staff I have. So we get about $67 every day per Airbnb cabin versus $53.75 if they take it without the bedding through the marina.
Okay.
So in saying all this, do you guys want to do any rate increases? We're kind of falling behind on the ball compared to other people, or do you think
With what's in it now, I don't think you should.
you don't?
That's just me. I mean, there's nothing there. You just get a,
Well, even daily parking, like at the state, they're paying $5 and $6 a day. We're only charging $3 a day.
well, I'm just saying the cabin rentals themselves.
Cabin. Oh, okay. Not the cabins.
Yeah, I don't know about your rental spaces for the campers and stuff.
The campers are extremely low, but maybe that's what's bringing more people in. Don't know.
That's just my opinion. I don't know what they
I
think.
just really want to see Airbnb. I want to see that take off in those cabins.
It has, look.
Well, yeah, in the last month.
this month really took off.
Okay, so when we're really busy in the summer and we have Airbnb and I have, 2 or 3 cabins that have to have the sheets changed and all that,
I know all about it. I did it for.
we are going to have to staff up.
So you'll help?
No, I won't. I'll help try to
You're gonna
figure out
come
what
make
else to make it
beds?
happen, but I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. I'd have to leave my house in the middle of the night and come clean the cabin. It wasn't fun.
Well, I would say just get with Sean and say what you'd have to have in the spring.
Okay,
And then he can come and say, Sherry needs this.
well, if Ray can work Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
And I won't
maybe
be here, so
somebody
I'll
in
be
there
like, I'm a taxpayer, don't
Saturday,
do it.
Sunday, I don't know.
How long does it take them to clean a cabin?
Takes about anywhere, it depends on who's been in it, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, pretty much. Yeah.
Deer season, inclement weather make that project sometimes, but Danny coming out and buffing out all those floors did really help, and it's something that we need to look at again, is keeping those floors highly polished, because the floor maintenance is the big thing.
I just feel right now that there's so much more potential in the cabins. That's just,
I think there is, but I also think they need some remodeling, the
yeah,
old
I
ones.
agree. The
Because
inside,
7, which is the Airbnb compared to the rest, is way nicer. You know, we do need to do some work, but we've got another project coming up at the rental house eventually, maybe. So. Do you guys know the rates out at the park? What they are, how much they are? Do you have any interest in it?
Yeah,
Okay.
How do we compare it for camping with other?
Oh, I have that still too.
so like that big concert that came in was like a 3-day,
Yeah, more of those people are coming down, but a lot of them camp up there.
they do camp up
Yeah,
there.
but they're starting to realize we're way cheaper than that. Like a tent for 3 days up there was like $140.
Is there a way for us to reach out to them without overstepping boundaries?
Well, I know Doug Bordegon because he rents all our cabins. The guy that runs it rents all our cabins during that festival. He takes every one I can give him. So I can ask him. I asked him if I could come up there and advertise, and he said until his sites were full, he wouldn't help us, basically. But I can check with him this year because it was pretty crowded again this year up there. Maybe their sites are done. I don't know, but I will. I will check with Doug. Okay. So Brett Litters charges $40 a night for a camper, $250 a week, and $725 a month. Our highest rate would be a 50 amp full hookup. That is compared to $40. It's $18 a night. Cost per week's $126 versus Brett Litters is $250, and we're $540 for a 50 amp full hookup, compared to $725 per month with Brett Litters. McBee's, back behind McBee's, is like just a gravel parking lot. It's $25 a night. Lynn Valley Lakes, if you know someone there, it's $25 a night, I believe. And the cost per month at McBee's is $500, so they're comparable with us, but we have a much nicer place than they do. Sugar Valley Lakes over here is $13 to $25 a day, depending on what you get there as far as electrical. And that's pretty much the same as last year. Nobody's had any rate increases, and neither did we. This is our fee schedule. Well, camping, campsites, shelters, daily parking and launch fee is included in that. Boat slips is happening, right?
You'd probably want her to come up with a proposal for any changes in this you'd like to see. Would that be?
I have one. Are you prepared for that too?
Step ahead of you.
Which you just said you didn't want to increase the boat. And that was on there, but I think they have to be repaired first. So you said you didn't want to increase the rate of the cabins right now, right?
I said I didn't think so, but I don't mean that.
Who was that? Oh, I
What's
thought
that?
somebody said that.
I said that.
Okay. That was you?
That was me.
What's for the RV camping? What do we charge the people that are there?
I just gave you the cost. It depends on the amenity.
So if they're
14,
there for
15, 16, 17, 18.
That's 30 amp electric only, and then that's 30 amp with water, 30 amp with full hookup, 50 amp with water, and 50 amp with full hookup. So but they range from $14 to $18 per.
But the people that are there year round, that's what we charge them?
Yep. A couple of years ago, I think you increased the long-term campers, but not the regular weekend campers stayed down, and then we raised them all. It seems like maybe we did. I don't remember for sure, but it seems like we went in a step. Okay.
What would you say are percentage of Linn County residents that go there?
Wow. That's a hard question. Probably 40.
40%?
40 to 50, probably. I don't, there's a lot of people in Linn County when I bring up the park that don't even know it's there.
Yeah.
That's why I went around to all the libraries and post offices and
Sure.
whatever to leave pamphlets, and I had people tell me I didn't even know that park was there. So even within our own county, a lot of people don't realize.
Just get you some of them big old blow up things that like move in the wind.
Do what now? Say that again?
Get one of the big old.
A big balloon?
Like,
Linn County has a park?
so like on the long-term campers, does their RVs and campers have to be registered with the county?
They're supposed to, I don't, if some of them come in, I don't really say anything until the appraiser's office comes through. And then
Okay.
they come through once a year. Yeah.
And this is what you would like to see done, increase.
Or some of it, not all of it, whatever. I mean,
How do you think this would help? I mean, I see
well,
just raising it to be raising it, or do you
Well, I think that the
do you
gap-
think the residents of Linn County should get a break when they go to the park? They're already paying their taxes and we've never ever offered that, have we?
Yeah, they get
Yeah.
a break on the entrance fee.
they used to get a break on, if they bought a yearly sticker, then they got $3 off per camping per day, per night. So,
But they still get a break on the yearly pass.
correct, they save $10 on the year pass
Okay.
versus anybody outside of Linn County.
I'd be okay with your recommendation moving up a little bit, but just because of price in the world goes up every day, so inflation. So
Can we not do the cabins until,
I think you're right on the cabins. I think we wait until we get all the amenities in it and get
and then,
internet.
and then look at sheriff
Once we get Wi-Fi and TVs
and
in there.
TV?
Okay. So the rest of it,
Can we just do this all 1 January, like start a new year and then increase?
correct, yeah, it'd be
Okay.
easier that way because, because I don't start selling the New Year passes till then.
If we could work on the TV and the Wi-Fi, I don't know.
Chris left.
Chris left.
He knew you was gonna ask me something.
If we can come back and do that, we do that with just a new fee schedule. I would agree, we need to bring up our camping fees as well and our parking fees. A lot of these aren't just for the sake of moving prices up or charging people more, but just like everything else, our costs,
Electrical and everything, I mean, it's, everything's going up.
Water,
Everything goes up
We're
on
providing
that.
the same service, but it's costing us.
Could we get an estimate on what the boat, the docks would cost to fix? I mean, is there a way?
I can get an estimate, but it's gonna depend on, like I said, whether or not, the frame is maintainable. If that's the case, then I can get just sheeting and new poles. I can get an estimate on that pretty quickly.
Okay.
I think it's important just to get a hold of Don too, because he's all about wanting to you'd ask him for help sometimes. So I think he would, if he has something.
Tell him we'll take all the fish out if he doesn't. So Sherry, I just suggest that we wait till,
So table this till later.
no,
If we get the TVs in and stuff.
Yeah.
But we'll try to be back before the end of the year, and Sherry and I'll work together, to make a hard list of what we want to move it to and give you exact numbers so we can approve it.
And we're talking TVs because we have to have a smart TV so people can log into their
Netflix.
They can run it off the phone.
Yeah.
They can-
Now, how long will people leave their boats up there in the slips? I mean,
One guy rented it for all summer, 3 months.
Time, or did that not pay?
What's that?
What?
Is there a houseboat there?
There was.
Yeah. Yeah, that was when Sean was still there and they finally got it out of there. But a month, that's something that probably, if we're gonna do month fees, the daily boat slip is $3 plus tax. The monthly is only $30 plus tax. So that probably needs to increase too if we get the docks fixed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think there's a lot of people that come in after hours and stay and then leave before?
I do. I don't think it's a lot, but I do think some do. I know some do. I hear rumors, but we don't have 24-hour,
Yeah.
you know, we don't have 24-hour staff, so it's really not much we can do about that. We also have, say, people come in and bring in a camper. I get told by other people that are there that they might bring a camper in. They know we close at 6 o'clock on Saturday. They'll show up at 7 or 8, and then they pull their camper out before we come back in the next morning. So it's, they're pulling out at 6 in the morning. I don't think it's a lot, but usually the people that are there that know us tell us. So I've been sending John out to see if he can catch the people, but there's not much he can do except tell them they need to pay.
Anything we can do to help improve the marina itself, the marina sales?
Marina sales?
Yeah.
Keep the prices from going up in the world. Every time I went to the store this summer or ordered stuff, I almost always had to increase the prices. It's just it's the way the economy is. But
Do you feel like you have the right product or not enough money to buy the right products to
I
put in
think
there?
I had, if anybody has any ideas for something to put in there, but they also have to remember in the marina that if things expire, we lose this food wise, we lose the stock we brought in. I do think I've made the markup quite a bit more than when even when I worked for Sean, I was working on getting the markup higher. We're selling it at a 33% increase. I now sell most of it at a 80%, 180%. So,
And then the fishing supplies and stuff, minnows and worms and all that stuff, you feel like you have an adequate supply of that stuff?
yeah, we lose some. Sometimes they get diseases like ick or something and they're brought in that way, but most of the time we do pretty good. Before I came there, they were ordering 1,000 minnows. When they ordered them, I only order 500 at a time now because they seem to do better if you bring in 500, and we don't sell as many. We've got the gas station down, the
Yep.
Lacine Power Stop, and then that other one opened back up, Wade's. Yeah, and then we got Lacine. So we don't sell tons and tons of bait,
Okay.
but we sell a lot of fishing
how's
supplies.
What's that? Is it called Zyrtec? Or what's that machine?
Ventec,
The Vindec? How's that thing doing?
good, really good. It's added into the park fees every month, so unless you want it separated, it does very well. And people didn't like it when we first put it in, but they really like it now, most people, because it's convenient. They don't have to worry about going back over to pay at the marina. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, I just want to say thank you for what you're doing over there.
Thank
I
you.
think you've done really well.
As far as
Nice to be
the
appreciated.
sales and Things, Sherry's also moved us away from that old firebox where we had to spend quite a bit of time, splitting firewood, for little or nothing, and has brought a trailer in, cleaned out that area, took out the fencing, brought a trailer in, now we sell wood, similar to the situation where you would in a grocery store, a vendor brings it in, and we just take a percentage of it. Not only is it cleaner, and looks more appropriate outside than the worn down fence, but we also don't have people risking injury to themselves when we're not there of an evening climbing over the fence to get firewood when we're not there, so. And it was with our staff, it was very cumbersome to try to fill that firebox each year.
So do you think that, so I know that we have a few slabs up there that's kind of been started for the cabins.
Oh, that was a question Robert wanted me to ask you about that. We just have one, cabin 8.
Just one.
Yeah.
What do you-
Robert wanted to know if he could fill that in because it's just open. It's kind of open pit, or you guys still want to at some point address that?
It seems like your cabin sales are going very well, so I don't know that we want to get rid of that idea.
Okay.
It's just footings, right? Is that what it is?
It's sand with the plumbing and the electrical, the conduit is brand new.
It should be the man sand with all the stuff sticking out.
And that's next to the last one we built.
Cabin
Yeah.
7.
I can probably go up and look and see what we can do to.
Because we have materials sitting,
I'm sorry.
we have materials sitting around for that, don't we?
We have, what we haven't used to revamp the cabins, that we had a full cabin at the shop, it's laying in the shop bay, but we've scabbed from that material as we went to repair other things, when we did siding and other stuff, so there's quite a bit of material and sheeting and other stuff there, but there's not a full cabin.
You mentioned the floors up there in Buffalo. Are they, what are they? They're like, what are those?
They're that old tile,
Stick
from
down
like
tiles?
it's the square, I don't know what it's made out of, the old tile, like,
It's a
From the
12
60s.
Business or commercial tile use.
It's not asbestos though, is it?
I'm sorry.
It's not asbestos. It's not that old, right?
No.
What, I wonder what it would cost per cabin just to lay some floating floor in there, some just wood grain floating floor that we could just easily mop.
laminate, like laminate.
Yeah.
I don't know, we could get bids on it, but
I think at one time I did.
I think that
bids
makes
on
cabins
it,
a lot better.
but the theory on cabin, the most recently built cabin was to stamp the concrete.
Yeah.
And paint it, and it worked out very well. That cabin's
it's
floors
pretty cabin.
nice, it was stamped out like large square rock tiles, and, that seems to work best. The ones that we have at Reno, we could get bids on what it would take, to go back and put better floor.
If I remember right, it looks just a little awkward when you walk into them, and then the floor is kind of, everything's kind of like wood-like, but then you got the floor that's kind of like old school
Yeah, it is.
tile.
Danny Nation buffed them and waxed them last year, what he said, and it just, the shine on them, it cleaned up some of the stuff that we couldn't get off the floors and made them look better, but they still need to be updated, period. Yeah. And around some of the, 2 of them, toilets and 1 and 2, the walls really aren't closed off. I mean, they're closed off, but the piping comes out and it just doesn't look really good. So most people aren't too picky for $50 a night, so.
I think it'd be important that if we do really try to up the sales on the Airbnb, that we do try to, fix all the issues that you're talking about, just little things like that, because you'll get reviews and then it'll ruin everything we're trying to do. Get a bad review or something like that.
We haven't had a single bad review, actually. We're a, what do you call it, a something host now.
Superhost.
Yeah, we're super host now. So we've done good on it.
And you only use the one for the Airbnb.
That's another reason I don't want to put Airbnb in the other ones, because unless we do different prices, the other ones probably are not going to bring that kind of money in, so.
We'd have to start towards that end and do the interior and just put 2 on, then 3 on as we did the interiors. And
What's the cost to, if you wanted to finish that cabin that's not there, that you got partial cabin left and,
I think we got a bid on that from,
we couldn't do it ourselves. You don't have the manpower to do it within.
not with what I've got.
Okay.
Shops right now.
Was it like 78 or something? That sound right?
78 to
Yeah,
100?
all our-
What?
We paid for all the materials and, they brought the concrete and did the physical construction, and we had a bid on it, but at the time when you look at it, it was high. To pay for it.
And that's another thing on the cabins is cabin 7 could rent for more money than the other ones. We could increase it versus the other ones because it is so much nicer. At least, I don't know.
You know, you
5
call
to
it
10
the king cabin.
Well, it's pretty nice and more people are finding out about it. So more.
I think it'd be.
Gary's cabin.
Gary's cabin. I mean,
Yeah, well, we'd have to tear the, yeah, can you
The
can't.
county attorney suite.
Right.
Different floor.
Right,
you get laminate flooring for $3 a square foot, so.
sure. They could be updated one at a time.
The cabinets and stuff can be updated and stuff. But yes, we could remodel, we could make them look exactly the same, but we definitely could bring up the aesthetics and the other cabinets.
Because on Airbnb, I know nowadays, back whenever I ran my cabins on it, there wasn't the cleaning charge, so it was like just 55 plus tax, or say that's what it was. But now they have, I mean, you see the price, it says like $70 per night, and then you click on it, and you reserve it, and then it's 175 because you get that
Sure.
cleaning fee.
I have a cleaning fee in mine.
Are you pretty,
For what we're doing for $20 for washing the linens and putting them back on the beds, I only raised it $20. So 20 or 25, I think 20. And it kind of came out. I kind of figured out how much money I wanted, including pet fees, because they take 14% of your money too. Airbnb does. So you have to be you have to figure out how you still come out ahead. Like I said, the Airbnb cabin ends up being $66 a night. And Airbnb is taking out the taxes and paying the state the taxes. So the taxes aren't even showing in that. So it's $66, no tax, versus $50, what we're charging for a cabin with no bedding through us. So it's $16 more per night, what we take in for the Airbnb cabin. And my minimum is 2-night stay. So we come out about $32 a night, or, well, it's $16 more per night, period. That's all there is to it, so.
Okay.
I just like that number in October of $4,400. I think, is that because of hunting and stuff like that?
The one for the Airbnb?
Yeah.
No, I don't have hunters making reservations through Airbnb. I just have people that are finding it on Airbnb and they're coming down. Some of them are more local now. At first, we were having people coming from more like out of town to visit with relatives, wanted a place to stay. And it's hard to find a place around Lacey. And then it became more, some of them that came down then have been passing the word around up towards Olathe and Leavenworth and those kind of areas. And so I'm getting more of them. They just want to come down and fish and hang out and relax and get away from the stress of the city, basically. So.
Sure.
Yep, we're done.
What are you doing out there?
Thank you.
Sure.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I hear you have some local guys that come out there and bug you all the time. Some older gentlemen.
So I think Darren or John or somebody should just from executive tab and stop that one issue and then.
Come ahead.
Darren with Planning and Zoning. Mr. Kaup has sent an invoice to be paid for the work that he's done so far. He'd like to be paid monthly, and I just wanted to present this to you. The amounts for $2,811.60.
He has proposed that he send the bill to me to review, which I did. Then we sent it on to David, and
Okay.
so this is pretty normal the way they do that. They'll bill against the total, but there's still a cap.
So my question is, every month that he sends us a bill, do you want me to present it to you guys or just,
See it in the bills.
okay?
I guess we need to know, let's don't go over the limit.
Yeah, if we see something concerning, he's going to always send me to review, and I'll have Darren review it. If we see something concerning, we'll bring it to you, but otherwise, it shouldn't be necessary.
I just wanted to bring you guys up to date on codes court and dump fee assistance. You guys had asked questions on that a week or so ago. In codes court, we have 6 cases that is getting ready for their 3rd appearance this week. I think most of them will be wrapped up. I've got one case for their second appearance, one case for their first appearance. Five,
Why do they have a second or third appearance? Because they give them time to correct it? Is that?
yes.
The way it works is you summons them, you get them in there. Their first appearance is just to give a plea. Okay, so they have to give a plea. Then typically we send them out and say, by next court date, have this fixed, or then we'll go to trial.
Okay.
And so they come back the next time and Darren either says, hey, it looks good, or it looks good, but they're not done, or they're not done anything. And then we decide whether to set it for trial at the next court. That's the way court works.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, so you go out, you hear a violation or you find a violation or whatever. Do you talk to the person prior to even going to codes court?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He works with
So
the
this
law.
process can go 6, 7 months, right?
Go a year, longer. He spends, some of these people, he's talked to many times before he ever brings it to me to file it in codes court.
Right.
Probably 90% of the people he talks to get it resolved before he ever brings it to me, you see?
Yeah, I've got 5 cases that's been resolved before taking it to court, and I've got 10 cases that just started within the last couple of weeks.
What happens? It continues. What does it end up going to? A tax sale if they don't take care of it?
No. If, let's say that, they simply don't make any progress or stubborn, won't do it or whatever, then we get a guilty plea against them, and the judge will fine them. They can either pay the fine, or if they don't pay the fine, then we can make it a lien on their property. And then if they don't take care of that, then
It goes to a tax.
could be. So ultimately, that could happen, but it never has. They've always paid the fine.
So there's a total of 23 cases that's going on. 5 of them have been resolved. Dump fee assistance, there's 20. 8 of them have finished, 12 of them are unfinished. I've contacted everybody that's unfinished. Some have answered, some haven't. I'm trying to get those resolved within the next 30 to 60 days to get
How
them
long have
closed
they
out.
been open roughly?
So there's 3 of them that's been open since February. And that was my question, because we had talked last time of setting a deadline on getting this done. So if I put it on the application, I just want to make sure that I follow that timeline. What do you feel is a fair timeline? 90 days, 60
I
days?
thought 90 days, what we initially talked about. Is
Well,
that
I'd
long
like to
enough,
know,
Gary?
what I'd like to see was, give them a time frame to start. There'd be some time in there, but once they start, set a certain time, it's got to be done.
Let's say start within 60 days and complete within 6 months or something like that. I think that,
I think 6 months is too long.
do you?
Start
Well,
off-
how about complete within 90 days then of start?
Say what, Danny?
Is there a dump
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but that's quite a while if it's just.
So they're required to get their own
90 days, don't you think? We're leaving ourselves open.
Well, 90 days is better than what we got now.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, I got an open
What do you
WP.
feel?
Everybody join in.
How long do you think we should leave one open?
Well, I think 90 days is plenty of time. It stipulates a time versus saying, okay, you've got free dump fees and just get it out there when you
How
want.
do we know that guy's bringing it in? It's actually coming from where they say it's coming from.
Well, we don't know that. The only way that I guess that we would know that is I'd have to work something out with Al. If it's a demo of a house, is this strictly construction debris?
It's got to be just construction debris. This thing,
Right.
we could have something that they would have to sign off on for each load, so that at least they're under oath saying that it's from the house in question.
Well, we just left our people sat down there taking,
Yeah.
they don't know. It's our people. It's not our people's fault. It's just what we've done.
Right.
That's
So do we need a policy or do we need?
We've got a policy, we just need to revise it.
Okay, to put it to 90 days. I'm for 90 days. What
Okay,
about you all?
just,
From the start date?
Anybody that went
From the
past
approval
90 days, could come back in, reapply and
And give a reason,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, if the weather was bad, if equipment broke down, but this would be the exception, not the rule.
Well, the thing is, to me, on a demolition, whoever your contractor is, isn't gonna stay on that job 90 days.
You wouldn't think so.
I mean, because it's costing him money sitting there and to go to the next one.
And,
I mean, that's giving him.
maybe if we prepare a form that they sign for each load, certifying that this load came from the house approved. So that if there's ever any question, then we could say, look, you certified this and we got proof it's not. And so we're gonna bill you for the amount.
Okay. There's your answer.
So I'll draft the policy revision and,
Could that be, rather than signing for each load, signing when they got I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
Put it to work.
okay, yeah, okay.
If we do it one time rather than.
Sign when they get the approval.
Now, does something go to the scale house down there that they know that this is coming up, or is it just the word of the mouth from the truck driver that's coming in? Do they?
No, when it's approved by you, I send Al a email with the dump fee assistance number and what it is.
And contractor that's doing it, or what? How do they know that what contractor's doing that?
So I don't send a contractor. What I do is I just give the person that applied for the application the number and tell them when they go dump that they have to present that number
Okay.
and the address of where it's coming from.
Okay.
Centerville, they called, the baskets came in last Thursday. I talked to the guy that does the scheduling, and he said that he would get back with me either this week or next week. And we told him that from that time, we needed 2 weeks to prepare what we need to do for them to do that. So hopefully that gets done here in the next month.
And that's something that at the park, we just spent again for what the baskets are designed to prevent. We had 2-3 guys down there working almost half a day because we had an item come through of clothing and jam up our pump system again just last week.
At the park? So we're gonna have to do this there too, or
The price that I gave you guys includes doing the one at the park.
Okay.
There's one manhole there that comes down from the bathhouse away from our well that we plan to put that at, that would catch all that's coming in.
And then they're going at Centerville too also, right?
Yeah, all 3 lift stations there.
Okay.
That's all I got. I need 10 minutes of executive session for legal.
Yes, I just got a couple items and then I'll ask Darren to ask him to come in as I'm talking about those.
That's all I got.
Thanks, Darren.
Thanks.
Come on, Sean.
Morning, Commissioner. Sean West, Public Works Administrator. I just have a couple of things. I gave you the email I got about the update on the park lease. I have a discussion next week in reference to the buyback, and I'll have a recommendation on it, but I'm just refreshing your memory on it, on what the buyback was and what equipment it affected. But I will bring that to you next week because Jeremy is currently in discussion with the dealership about what our options in that buyback are, whether it's just cash given to us or it's credit to purchase new through them. He's going to get me a little more detail so I can be accurate and answer your questions.
Was this price set when you guys bought
The maintenance contract itself?
no, this is the buyback price of the.
That's the
I think
buy.
it did, I think it was in there, if I'm not
Was
mistaken.
it the price set then, or was it the price set today?
I believe it was set at the time, but
Yeah.
I can bring the original,
Used
I
to
can,
be worth a lot more today than it was then, that's what I'm saying.
I can bring the original documents in to you if you need those.
Okay, I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah, hey, Sean, send those. Just put them on email and send them to us.
I'll get you copies of those.
We can look at everything prior to next week.
Okay. And the only other thing I had in preparation for our 11 o'clock was one of the two queries that sent this out, and I'm not sure whether you'd received it, but there has been an increase or will be in the future. Other than that, I didn't have anything else for you, and Joyce is here with her documents.
Are we going to talk about the committees, the form? Are we ready to do that or not?
We have decided to make a couple more adjustments to that policy I brought in last week for them. They've gone over it and they wanted some changes, so.
My concern is the length of time. I'm talking about the committees. You have 9 years total.
Right. Is that,
This is just me. One person on it for 9 years is a long time. And
I
what's your,
believe Gary, Jessica and I are close on that. And I
Okay.
think by next week, no later than the week after, depending on illnesses and people being here, I think in the next week to 2 weeks, we will have a full recommendation for you.
okay. 'Cause that's my thought. I'm just telling you that.
I think it fully addresses it. What we're dealing with now is there are some committees that if you applied that to, and we'll bring them to you, if you applied that to just one or two of our committees that have like the airport, that has a group that is very small and very specific in their job skill and set to give us advisory information, it may not work out well. So we're going to bring you some options on that
Okay.
to try to keep our committee strength up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean,
I'm sorry.
on this contract for Evergy, can we throw out some options to them so they just don't come back with a contract and be like, all right, here it's
No.
just.
basically, they're going to put a contract to us and then we either accept it or propose revisions at that time.
Okay.
I mean, they
we have
won't,
no option.
they won't draft one to our specifications. They'll draft it, they'll send it. And then if there's something we won't revise, we'll send it back and say,
They took our information when we went around with them as far as our suggestions. And when we get this first document, it'll be our first blush of seeing what they believe those recommendations, how they could include them and some of them that they won't include.
Okay.
So. All right, thank you.
Do you need any executive session or anything?
I do.
Okay.
Hello,
Joyce.
Joyce Hall, Public Transportation. It's that time of year again to do my grant, and this is going to be for our 2024 fiscal year. I'm asking for the budget information and the administrative cost. We're not putting in for any new vehicles on this one. So basically what I have here is one of my documents. It needs, 15 different signatures from Jim.
Jim loves to sign.
And then once I get that signed, I can submit it. It's due next week.
Are we still waiting on a new vehicle from last year or something? Or?
Well,
It's used now.
we were awarded a new van in 2021, and we're still waiting on it. There has been some discussion. They finally got 8 chassis in for the state of Kansas. I've been told that we might be getting one of those by the end of the year, but I'm not going to believe it until I see it pulling in. So anyway, that's where we're at.
Is that from the dealer down there in Oswego? You know?
I can't remember. Last year we had the Oswego one. I can't remember the name of it. So we do have a minivan that we were approved for last year. There's no discussion at all on when we'll get that one either. So we've got 2 coming in. I know one of our, I think our 2015 van has 160-some thousand miles on it. Our 2011 has 172,000. So they basically want us to put in for a new one after they hit 100,000. So we're way behind. So hopefully we'll get them soon.
Once it gets to 200.
We bought that new van not too long ago too. Remember?
The red van,
We
that's
went
the
and bought
sheriff-
it up here in
that's
Missouri.
the sheriff's deal.
We
That
gave it to the
doesn't-
sheriff.
That doesn't have anything to do with, that's not a grant-funded van.
No, I know that, but then we initially want that for that, and it ended up over with the sheriff as, or do you remember
I think
anything about
that
it?
was with some of that COVID money we
Mhm.
got from the state, and they used that to purchase that van.
Okay,
We cannot, I can use it for transportation if we have a breakdown, but
Like,
I
yeah.
can't turn in any expenses
Sure.
on my grant.
so if everything went sour, you could communicate with the sheriff and possibly use that if you had to.
Yes.
I think that's what we got it for anyway. The sheriff can use it all the time, and if we have a total,
We also
breakdown.
have that little Ford Fusion car out there, so if we don't need a wheelchair
Okay.
person, we will take that one because it's a lot cheaper.
like, cheaper, yeah.
Fuel-wise.
Okay, sounds good.
So I don't know, for my operating expense, if you'd need numbers, I had put in to request for operating 110,601.80. So our local share, if they approve that, is 30%. So the federal reimburses 50% and the state reimburses 20%. So that's just what I've requested. I don't know what they'll approve. I won't hear that until next spring.
Is that far off from what you normally get?
The last year, I think it was 91,000. The main increase on this is fuel because I maxed out my budget last year on fuel.
Okay.
So they're averaging, we're about 29% higher on fuel than we were. So I budgeted more. So we'll see where.
David, is there anything that we need to know about this other than?
Just probably want a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the application. And then he can sign it whenever he's got time to write his name 19 times.
I marked the little things on the side are where you need to sign.
That's almost gym proof there.
Yes. So I'll just need you
Messed
to,
it up too.
What's it called?
what's what?
What's this called?
Well, this is for my KDOT grant. I've got like 30 something.
I know, but what we want
That
Jim to
was
sign.
called certifications and assurances.
Okay, I make a motion that we direct Jim Johnson to sign this, this grant.
So
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye. Start signing.
So while he's signing, the other part of that was my administrative costs. So I'm doing a little bit different this year. I'm just going to base it on like 20% of my salary. We did base it on our administrative assistant salary, so we're not replacing that person. So I'm going to put in our mind. So the local sheriff, you need to know, is like $4,240.
My X on these.
do you need anything else from us?
That's it.
I'll be back.
Thanks, Joyce.
Lost which way I'm going there. So what we need is 10 minutes legal with Darren. Do you need any?
Yeah, if you'd add 5 to that, I think I could get
There's
mine.
3 things that maybe can you add 10?
It's fine with me, yeah.
Can you give him 10?
So
Got some legal stuff to explain to me.
I'll make motion. We go in executive session for 20 minutes, 10 legal with Gary and 10 minutes legal with Darren. That's my motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. I think that's it. If I'm wrong, if I missed something.
I'll check.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Can't be still. They took all my pressure off the lines and server cleaner doesn't it.
Wow.
Think I need to hear for this discussion, or? I'm
It's gonna
happy to.
cost us money now.
Okay.
No, you-
I don't know anything about gravel.
There's no action from executive sessions. We're going into a workshop with our aggregate people. Who all's here? Can you guys state?
What the record is?
Daryl Anthony, of course.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sean.
Sorry.
What you got?
Oh, no, you just asked me to contact the local quarries, bring them in, and we were gonna talk about, the prices for next year and some of the things that we could do, as far as pricing, how, we purchase rock, whether there's any benefit to purchasing in bulk, and, anything we could do to ensure the communications and between us and the quarries as far as the rock that we needed, on our last project. We had some miscommunications that it's cost us a little bit, and we didn't get the quality laid down. But I think a lot of it has to do with, not only communications, but what we can expect for the next year as far as rock and rock prices and fuel, and quality or quantity, and what rocks available. I think was a lot of the question that you'd asked me to try to answer.
My question was, like with Todd on our chip and seal rock, what was the quality wise? It had a lot of lime in it, I guess.
We had from west of Parker down to about 1850. We didn't have significant chippers. If you drive down, check the edges of the road, we really didn't have, it switched from when we went west to Goodrich back. The quality of rocks that we got a lot more lime. We didn't know it at the time because, like I said, when it comes out of the truck into the chipper and we're putting it down, we don't have any way of seeing how much is in there. And we didn't really notice it until we got to about 1600, and I upped my oil shot rate, and my operator dropped his rock quality down, or rock amount down. And then when we got around to 1475, we increased the oil again, dropped it again, and we still were losing.
So talk, hey, explain to the public that's listening what's bad about that, adding lime, too much lime to it.
If the line being lighter will actually hit the road before the aggregate does, and it creates a cap on the oil, and then the rock itself cannot penetrate to get grabbed, and get held into the road.
Okay.
Now is this a washed rock?
No.
We haven't washed rock for probably 5 or 6 years.
Is there a reason why? I'm just asking.
A cost thing, and we found that it hasn't been necessary because they've been using our same rock for that long. This is the first time we've ever heard of an issue.
Okay.
Is there other counties that use washed rock or we?
I'm not aware. I mean, we've got 9 quarries scattered out, clear out in Cali County and those areas, and they buy our different versions of material for different things, and we haven't had any issues with that. And generally, rock, there isn't lime in it. There may be dust on it, but there won't be any lime put in it unless it's just dusty rock in it.
Right.
And if you catch it right off the crusher and it doesn't sit in the pile or get rained on or whatever, something to that effect, we haven't run into any issues in the past. Haven't had any issues with Anderson County because the portable plant one's the one that services Garnett, Centerville, and Mound City. That's in a circle that we just keep moving the same plant.
So you just discontinued washing rock 5 or 6 years ago, quite company wide then?
Yes. Yep. Not saying we can't go back to it if it's an issue.
You have what?
Like I said, when we chip sealed last year, we had no issue with timber rock. We went from Mountain City to Centerville doing Snellville Road, and there was no chip loss. This year, it was significant, and I don't know if that's the dry weather that caused it.
Because we went from Centerville to Garnett, didn't stay at Garnett very long because the rock you used out of Centerville was crushed last year at Centerville. And I mean, and honestly, it's obviously been dry, extremely dry. Not saying we can't go back to washing rock, you know, that's an added expense
Yeah.
to that. So obviously, I appreciate your business. If there's any issues, I want to do what we can to make sure everyone's somewhat happy to see it
Well,
when I come.
And like I said, in all the years we've done this, I've never seen it do this.
Well, I've never seen the road like it was. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, it was actually dustier than a gravel road.
Yeah,
It was. I mean, that's.
I mean, we've had it to where years we've had chip loss, but it's never been like that. We had a year that chips swept off on 1077 and they found out that oil and rock both have a magnetism, which I didn't know anything about. John Byington at the time didn't know either, and then we found that out.
Have you guys, just curiosity, not trying to deflect or anything, change any oil things from the previous years to this year's, all been the same product?
All been the same products, same shot rate.
You get it from Vance Brothers?
We got it from Coastal. And
Okay.
last year was Vance Brothers, the year before was Coastal, and we didn't have any issue.
You use for oil?
CRS 2G.
Okay, because I'm still old school, I'm an MC 800 fan. They said it's an outdated oil. I said, yeah, but it works. It's worked for 40 years.
Who'd you say you was with the
Whitaker.
Whitaker, and you're a Ham, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where's Ham at? Is it over in Lacine or where's it at? Okay. So the quality of road rock, are we satisfied with that or not? Because
Yeah.
you know, if I buy a load of rock, I stick my hand in it, I get for road rock, I get so much of that, just nothing. It's just crap.
In base rock, you're gonna have your fines in it. Because, I mean, we've sold to the state before, and there is a spec for AB3 road rock, and we've met those specs. Not offer the county, do you want it bigger or smaller? Because everyone has their own opinion, if we want it coarser. If you put, honestly, I'd like to make 1.5-inch road rock and put it on, because as an end user myself, I drive county roads, it's gonna stay with you longer. If you put 1.5-inch base rock on, your phone's gonna be ringing, because some little old lady's gonna say, I've got more flat tires than I've ever had, and it's rough.
It's already.
And it goes on, but the coarser you can put your rock, and I don't care if it's Ham's rock, my rocks, mid-stakes rock, it's gonna break down. The more you drive over it, the more it's gonna break down, but the coarser you can put it out, the better off you're gonna be, but the more your phone's gonna ring from unhappy public.
Well, we had 2-inch mixed with road rock, because it had a lot of fines in it. Oh, man.
I bought a lot of tires from that, or I thought I did.
And there's something like, I think it was, I might get the year wrong, 18 or 19 when we had all the damn.
But that was the problem at the time. The roads just, the bottom fell out of them because of all the
We were
rain.
making
I know
base
that.
rock, and it helped alleviate the issue, but as soon as it got dry, you probably, your phone started ringing.
Now, do you guys wash rock?
At some point we do, yeah. Be real honest with you, I'm new over here, so I'm about sitting here learning right along with you guys.
Slide on up front.
What's our rock budget just for the gravel roads, not including asphalt, you know?
I do not have the number with me.
David got it.
Maybe it will help
Is it-
us out.
Do we, I know it's like 700 or 800.
One of my questions is, from driving, when I was out at the park and the quarries, a lot of the rock is purchased in piles on the ground. Would it be more beneficial to the county overall, instead of coming in by truck per project to buy in bulk? Because I know the prices are going up this year.
We don't have any discount for buying in bulk or buying it, but the biggest downfall of rock is transportation costs. I don't know what Ham gets, I don't know what we get, but the biggest thing that's probably gonna dictate where you come to Ham's Quarry or our quarry is how many miles are we from the gate of Ham's to the gate of Whitaker's, because at $5 diesel fuel, which we're experiencing now, I'm not saying my rock's any better or any worse than theirs, but it's just simple economics. We can't send the truck from Whitaker's clear up past Cadmus to dump on a county road. Unless there's a quality issue, and I'm sure with Ham, there are no slouches in the rock quarry business, you're not gonna have that, or if they do, I'd like to think they can fix it. But I mean, transportation's been the biggest issue of where most people I've found here. You can't afford to haul it 20 miles past another competitor that's 5 miles. And I mean, you know, everyone says, you discount your rock for like big projects. I said, no, but the only thing that discounts rock sales is transportation. Because basically all of us quarries, and I'm gonna say, speaking for them, we're probably within 50 cents to $1 a ton of the same price. Wouldn't you say from same material? And it's right.
Well, it's just like what I seen on those roads, and I don't know it, but you know, to me, that the quality that was there with what blew off and things, I think we didn't get what we paid for there, I guess is what I'm saying. It won't last as long. Is that a fair
Well,
statement?
yeah, I mean, I'll have to go back sooner than I plan to do, just put an actual layer on it of rock.
But if we need to look at going back to washing, I mean, it's gonna be a little more expensive. That's no problem for me. You know, we haven't had any issue, but I think due to the
Well,
dry weather, it's
yeah.
set falling, it's just as dry as ever.
How much more does it cost to wash rock a ton?
It's gonna be about $2 a ton.
$2 a ton
That's
versus,
another process you have to put in.
right?
But overall on that project, you're talking about $43,000 worth of rock compared to, between labor and oil and fuel costs, you're talking about over 200 for oil.
So the oil is a lot larger expense than the rock is.
More rock to save the oil and the other stuff.
The oil
And we
still
had
did its
we
job.
identified it would've-
It's still there, the road's still sealed, it's got a layer of protection on it. The dust from the rock is actually on there, so it didn't get tacked. I don't know how it'll be next summer when it gets to 100 degrees, that's a big factor. Because if that oil starts to bleed through, that's one of the big factors that the rock does, it actually, as the oil will bleed through the rock, it actually creates still a layer that doesn't let the road get tacked in.
So the cover material, is that what I'm looking for in budgets for rock or?
Cover material,
Yeah.
half-inch.
And there, so we've got the all district budget and then we've got the road 1 and road 3. In 1 and 3, there's 308,000 in each that says surface material. And then up in all district, we've got 140,000 that says cover material, and we've got 280,000 that says road commodities. So I'm not sure what all that is. And then we've got 800,000 for road oil commodities. So however that breaks down as to gravel and other things you're buying out of it, I don't know those details.
Are you guys happy with the size of the road rock?
You're getting bigger and then.
I mean, I'll make it as big as you want, but I think no more than an inch and a quarter inch.
What does the rock cost per mile versus oil? Do you have any idea on that, on the chip
How much does the rock cost per mile?
per mile versus the oil per mile?
We burn per mile 6,100 gallons, and I don't know the exact figure what Coastal's charging us this year for oil. I want to say it was probably $3 a gallon or close to it. So I'd say close to $18,000 for oil. And then the rock, I use 6 trucks at 15 ton. 90 ton of rock at $13 a ton is what I believe you're charging.
And something to think about that we do when we make our cold patch, we'll run our half-inch chip through the asphalt plant and dry it. When you run it through and dry it, you burn every bit of the dust off of it, because rock inherently is wet, it has an absorption factor, there's always moisture in it.
Yeah.
And, you know, you guys do quite a bit of chip and seal, but I'm trying to think how many tons a year you do. Maybe next year or this season, we won't say, let's dry 1,000 tons of rock and just put it in a specific place and see how it works. Because when you dry the rock, it's damn sure going to suck up the oil.
Yeah.
And stay there.
Now, do other counties around do that? I mean, is that, nobody does it, huh?
We got
So one of the most recent loads, it looks like, from Coastal was 6,100 gallons of, was it ASPH CRS2P?
CRS2P,
6,100 gallons was $15,433. So that's like $253.
$253.
How come you don't use like MC 800?
Never tried it. I really haven't, because I
Try
haven't.
one load up. It's old school technology, but I think you'll be happy with it. And I guarantee it's going to cost a lot less.
I'm going off the same product and numbers that John Byington did, and
Yeah.
it's always worked in the past, and I mean, we can try something different. I've never tried it. I know some of those emulsions, if you're not careful, they'll break on you, sit inside the tank, and they'll gum up the system.
But hell, the rock guy's going to blame it on the oil guy.
What compared to what the general public gets it for, do we get any kind of discount from you guys per load? Is that a possibility? I mean, we're
I don't
spending.
know where you are looking at the accountant and the guy that stamps the envelopes, and I just go under the KISS method. I keep it simple. Because I got 900 customers and I have one price list for everybody. I'm gonna give that envelope job up one of these days too.
I mean, we're spending $800,000 in material on gravel. I didn't know if there was a way that you could work with us a little bit or not.
I can make you any product you want better. I can look at going back and working rock, or we can try drying some more. And see if that helps your issue better.
Well, like I said, this was the first year we've ever experienced anything like this. I've never seen it to where,
And it was out of Centerville.
yeah.
It was fair to say that it was loose enough that I had calls.
Sure.
That after it was done, I had people calling me, school bus drivers and different things that was meeting cars with fishtailing on the road. I mean,
Yeah.
I got the phone call.
And like I said, the weird thing was, if you go west of Parker and you look at the edges of our road, we have very minimal chip loss up there. We had some, but not.
This was west of Centerville is where this was as well.
Or up to West Parker.
Yeah,
If
right.
you go west of Parker, the chip loss there isn't very big. Going through the town of Parker was, when we got down towards Goodrich and went out west and came back in, it seemed like that's where it changed. And I don't know if we got deep enough into the pile that we'd hit
Right.
a more
But
dusty
you're
part of the
confident it wasn't shock rate, didn't have an issue, maybe not. Like, cause I've got a distributor truck and sometimes what the meter says and what's coming out the spray bar might be two different things.
Yeah, no, I called up, that night and asked them if I would do it. They walked me through and I checked my shot rate. It was good.
Right.
That way I made sure it wasn't that factor. Like I said, I even upped my shot rate just to make sure I went up to a 0.36.
Right.
And it still was, I mean, we had a good coverage of oil on it. It's just the rock never actually adhered. And it did in some spots, like where the road, the traffic didn't run. If you drive it now, you can see there's chips on the road. It's just like where there was any valley or edges, it didn't stay. It stayed here and there throughout the entire road. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know what caused the issue. We've never had this.
I guess my other than what they're talking about with the chip and seal is the road rock itself. Is there, I mean, I'm just a handful, you're going to get 3 or 4 rocks and the rest of the inch rock. Well, it's not, it doesn't seem to me like it's good.
Right.
Okay?
I can get a sieve amount, grind it up, it'll pass for KDOT AB3 road rock. I mean, we have a spec we have to go by, something
Sure.
has to be retained on the.
And are we using that for the county?
Yes, we make that work because I make a product, and I'm sure Ham does too, their road rock will pass for KDOT stuff. Once you figure out your screen stuff, it is a spec. You need the fines in there to lock it up and make it stay, because it's
It
not.
just blows off.
It'll blow off because it's like 3/4 clean, like marbles.
I don't have anything. I think it's good that we finally got the whole meet after, well, I don't think we've ever even met and had you in here
No.
for years, so.
It's been a long time since, and that's probably my fault. I need to get out more often, just say, hey, I'm still here. Thanks for coming by and, supporting us. But
Is there any type of test like Todd can do when he's just loading this stuff, or our truck drivers can, to verify that, like you say, the dust, if that's what it is, that we can verify this don't happen next time?
I'm struggling that there's that much dust on it because we've done this a long time. I'm not saying there's not. I'm not pointing fingers.
I'm telling you what, I've drove gravel roads my whole life, and this here was the dustiest. Did you see it, Aaron? What do you say, Todd? Mike? I mean, it was so bad that if you met somebody,
Right.
you'd have to slow way down.
Oh, no, I get that. That also tells me didn't have enough oil.
I'm just telling you, it was bad.
Because even if everything's in perfect world, if you don't have enough oil, it's
Oh.
dust.
We backed our rock down. Coastal did the sample for us, and they told us 24 pounds per.
Mhm.
And by the time we were getting into Centerville, I believe we were running 17 pounds.
Right.
We had backed our rock down, and I had increased my oil shot rate by almost 300s.
But does your truck heat?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's the other thing. If you got a cool load of oil, it's not going to pump as good as the hot load of oil.
No, every time I check the temperature on it, because my gauges, my digital and my manual or analog gauge, I check to make sure those are both up.
Sure.
And I take the temperature of the oil going through before I ever take it because I'll refuse a cool load.
Right,
And every load was between 152 and about 165.
right.
And I have to write that down on the paper, what the shop rate is and everything else, and I turn it into Joyce. Like I said, that's why it was shocking, because everything was going the same way it always been, everything was going great, and then it just suddenly, just, I don't know.
But that's my worry, if they continue to keep getting out the same pile, how the problem correct itself and then it go away that fast. That's why I keep going back to our
Yeah.
sure we didn't have a distributor oil issue.
Well, I ain't gonna say we didn't, I'm not 100%, I can't tell you one way or the other.
I don't have anything else really. That's just.
I just
You
know
got
we
anything?
spend a lot of money with you guys and we want to get what good for the county.
Yeah,
And I mean, if it takes us going to get moist rock, I mean, I'm guessing
No, we
$2 a ton. I mean, for what the tonnage, to me, the rock is, if we're using the right product as far as the oil, the $2, if we get another year out of it, I mean, the rock's the cheap part.
minimal expense in this whole thing compared to what it was.
The rock's the cheap part of this deal. And I
Yeah.
mean, to me, what I seen, I don't know that it's gonna last. That's my concern.
Yeah,
I mean, we can try anything we can do, I mean, I'd like to get the best product out of
Sure.
it too, so.
do you guys play much asphalt?
We do more cold, that's what we, I have a plant sit there, and it doesn't, that, cover material works great for a cold patch.
Yeah.
It's got, I mean,
Maybe in the pile, where was that, where, like you said,
Horse go this way, and then all of a sudden find them all fall off this way and start trying. Just got into that scene.
So we got the product and we'll get it figured out. What about the contracts?
I'm sorry.
The pricing contract, we get to figure that out? Will you work with us any on we're gonna be over $1 million on material next year, I think, with inflation.
Yeah, the only thing I'm gonna say, we're looking at going up on rock price January 1st. We just haven't decided how much yet, just because of.
I mean, if you give us 5 cents, I would be happy. If you could just consider something, I mean,
Let
make me feel like we got something.
Let me visit with my partners. I made my 2 kids my partners in the business, because the part of it is I'm gonna be 60 years old. Do I want to do this forever? Yes, but at some point you have to think of an exit strategy. You can't sit there and say, well, what's gonna happen when your time comes, bringing up the next generation? Because this old man wants to slide off and go run his tractor and bulldozer on my own ground.
And I'm not trying to beat you guys up, it's my job to try to.
well, my concern is to get the best product for the people, that
No,
we can.
and I totally get.
And that's my concern. And I had people call me. I didn't see it to begin with until somebody called me and told me, and I drove up and looked at it. And I'm
But
60.
if I could tell you inch and 3/4 base rock, you'd be happier for the dollar per ton ratio, but the phone, you're not gonna be happy.
Well, I know.
I just can't comprehend that all those findings has to be the way it is right now. It just seems like a waste. Seems like you're buying trash.
No.
No, it does.
It's all an aggregate, because I mean, it takes so much of your 1 inch and 3/4, your half, down to your 40 and 100 on your sieves to make base rock that when water gets on it,
That's what holds your road together.
The lime compacts, it's like 99%.
Well, like Harry said, when we put the 2-inch on it.
Well, we got a hell of a compaction then.
And
Got no
But it
rocks.
was hard on tires.
That's why we bought rock sealers.
we had to
But-
put the 2 inch on for the wet season of the road.
The roads was going, falling apart because of all the rain we got. But it was terrible hard on tires.
Yeah.
If you ain't got fines, you can't build a road.
Yeah, but it should be 80%. That's what it seems like. I'm just throwing a number out there. It seems like a lot.
It's probably half. But I mean, that's what a KDOT spec is for.
If we're going by KDOT, then I guess I should shut up. But
No, I mean,
it's
this is an educational thing for everyone, because unless you're in the business, there's a lot of questions. There is no such thing as a stupid question or a dumb question. 'Cause I mean,
there's dumb questions. Believe me, I've heard them. But
Well, I'd just like to see if that's what it takes for us to go back to the washed rock. I mean, it's not
just for that.
For the chip and seal type deal to guarantee that we're not putting any kind of lime or dust, whatever you want to call it, out there. I mean,
right.
I guess,
I was also gonna say, and I've offered that other counties, we've got an asphalt laydown machine, a roller and a tack truck. And as I always tell the counties, they're more than welcome to use our asphalt laydown machine as long as you buy your hot mix from me. You use it for nothing. I don't care.
We've got, we've got the same stuff that John's always used, those Cedar Rapids and all that.
Right.
But if it breaks down, we're gonna take you up on it.
Exactly.
I know, because the point of it is stuff breaks down.
Oh, yeah.
My distributor truck sits up here because when we make cold patch, we've got that overhead tank. We just get a transport load at a time. We'll fill the truck and just got a heater and warm it up. Because it doesn't, you never make a full semi-load of cold patch at a time. You know, we'll make 300-400 tons because its shelf life isn't forever.
Right.
That's why we put that round top building up and we found that did more good than anything to keep the sunlight, the dust, and the rain.
Yeah. That's the problem we have is when we make it, we usually make 2 tankers because we're burning through it as fast as we can.
Yeah.
So when we set it for a week, let it age, stir it as we go along, and then after a week, we lay it on the rig. And after that week,
But how are you making it if you're not drying it?
we buy it straight from you and go into there.
But it's still not dry.
Well, I know. No, we don't have that ability. It turns out good. I mean, we don't have a problem with our patching. You drive them every day.
I'll donate a dump truck load of rock of mine, put with yours, put it somewhere you can do an honest text, and I'll give that to you.
That'd be good.
I'm trying to sell rock.
Hey.
So you said you have the capabilities of wash and rock if that's what we choose to do,
Yeah.
and there'll be an added cost. You guys do the same thing or not? Over, but do you have that capability over in Lacey and Cadmus?
Lacey, I'm sure we do.
Okay.
I had to find out the Casper. It's not like we don't have it.
Okay. All right.
okay. Well, thank you guys for coming in.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate that. I learned a little bit. It's,
I appreciate it. Good to put a
Anytime you guys
face with the name for
tour,
And we do this with we're trying to do this with everybody so we can kind of get to know everybody and figure out exactly what's going on. So
anytime you guys have any issues whatsoever, call whoever to get hold of me.
and can we do that? Try like what he said, to try the dried rock and stuff beside, just to see it, you know?
Because it's a learning process, but you
What do
know,
you think?
I buy my stuff from.
Try it on your driveway.
And let you paddle well. Back 40 years and you did that's the most foolproof product I've ever seen.
I remember Kermit and them using the MCA.
Had to get along with it. The only bad thing about MC 800, when it gets over 100 degrees, it will want to, yeah, it'll want to pick up. But it's got to get up to 100. It's going to do it.
Bubbling and you drop here and bubbling.
You popping when you're driving, yeah. I remember hearing that.
Or it'll get hot and in a little while, it's gonna start picking up on your tire.
It's got to get real hot. Yeah.
We've had that happen with the paver.
That will take it.
Yeah.
Chipper and go real fast, you know, light coat on places like that. Keep picking oil up.
All right.
We used to use lime, we tried it, we used to put lime in dump trucks, I can tell the gates up and just go crazy. Just
Yeah.
get it off, get it up out of the
well, we appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you.
No problem.
Yep.
Well,
Thanks for your time.
I'll get back with you then. After I finish about the wrong prices and stuff. Here's my point of contact.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll make sure I'm talking to the right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, I'll ask
Guys. You got anything, David?
No.
You guys got anything?
Yeah.
You don't need anything, do you?
Keep it for next week.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
All right.
All right. Need a lot of stuff. Huh?
60
What?